YouTube, it's Emma Blue Eyes 10 here, and coming at you with a thoughts video on the extra deck. Do you use full slots or not? And this video was actually, this was an idea that came to me a little while ago, but I couldn't quite put out how I was going to put it into words, if you see what I mean. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoy. When I was building my Blue Eyes Dragons a couple of months ago, as you know, taking a while to build it, I was showing my friends, how the deck was looking, how it was building up and everything, and I had a few people ask me, why haven't you maxed out your extra deck? And even today in some of my deck videos and all that, especially with the recent Blue Eyes Dragons deck updates, some people have asked, why don't you max out the extra deck? So I hope this answers your question, guys, and I hope just hope this answers your question, basically. I don't have anything else to say to that. So anyway, how many slots in my deck do I use out of the 15? I just use 10. So I'm just going to show you what they are. Of course, it's going to be one Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, one Black Feather Dragon, one Stardust Dragon, one Black Rose Dragon, one Ancient Fairy Dragon, one Leviair the Sea Dragon. Yes, I know it's a new addition to the extra deck. Two number 17 Leviathan Dragon, one Queen Dragoon, and one Hieratic Sun Dragon Overlord of Heliopolis. So I only use 10 cards in the extra deck out of 15. 4 of them are synchros, 5 are Exceed, 1's a fusion. So my deck's got a kind of mix of what I can go into and everything. Now a couple of years ago I did used to max out my extra deck, where I had a mixture of like 2 or 3 Ultimate Dragon, a lot more synchros, and of course maxing out what Exceeds we had when they first came out and everything. But now over the past couple of years I have actually narrowed it down to what cards I actually can go into when the situation calls for it, and what I feel is best suited for my deck. For meta games and competitive sides of Yu-Gi-Oh, of course the best thing to do is to max out everything that's given to you, max out everything in the extra deck as possible, of course, unless it's been hit by the ban list. So that means that that player who's playing that meta deck has maximum options to go into to win games and get combos off, which is fine, fair enough. But since I'm not playing a meta deck or anything, I can sort of like narrow down my choices really to what I feel is best for me and my deck and the situation that the deck can go into. And of course there are some other like fun decks that max out the extra deck anyway. For example, Elemental Heroes, they most of the time they constantly max out the extra deck with their fusions. Some will use synchros and exceeds as well, because obviously that's what Elemental Heroes do best. They're brilliant at fusions and all that kind of thing. But anyway, the reason why I only use 10 cards, as I said, it's just because of what I feel is best. I've got 5 extra slots left, which I will use for other cards depending on when I need them in the future, and also for any new dragon type monsters that happen to come out that could be used again in the extra deck. For the synchros at least, of course, Ancient Fairy Dragon is because I've got field spell cards now. Black Rose Dragon is because it's just to blow up the field and reset the field, because it's still really good at doing that. Stardust Dragon because it just stops destruction. Black Feather Dragon is the situational one out of them, because it only of course targets burn. I could use Red Dragon Archfiend if I wanted to, but the thing is, a lot of decks nowadays don't really play defensively, and even if some deck combos or some deck themes and deck combos do use defensive play, in some cases most of the time they can often protect themselves from destruction, so Red Dragon Archfiend can't get around it sometimes. So Black Feather Dragon at least is the situational one, only if I go up against burn, because you do come up against some cards that will do burn damage, and they can be frustrating if you don't have anything to counter that. And also it's a 28 attack beat stick anyway, so it's good if I really need to get it out in the field really. And again, as I said, I would love to use Red Dragon Archfiend, but unfortunately, as I said before, a lot of decks don't play defensively nowadays unless you happen to come across something like that, but I don't think you get to see stalled decks or anything nowadays, to be honest. 2 other synchro monsters that people do keep suggesting to me, ouch, sorry, suggestions to me is Iron Chain Dragon and Trident Dragion. Now, Iron Chain Dragon's a level 6, 25 attack beat stick, and that's pretty cool. But sending cards to the graveyard from your opponent's deck is never a good thing, especially in today's meta, because there are quite a few decks that thrive off using cards in the graveyard. The other reason why I don't use Iron Chain is the main combo that I go into it is Totem Dragon plus Delta Flyer. You know, Delta Flyer increases Totem to level 3, and then you synchro into your Iron Chain Dragon. However, if the Totem Dragon has been resurrected by its own effect, it gets banished, so it's like I don't get to use it again. So in other words, I've sort of like wasted a Totem Dragon that could have been used for a summoning of a Blue Eyes or a Lightning Darkness Dragon. Trident Dragion is a really cool card, and I have used it, but it's more of pretty much an OTK card for Dragon decks. Now, as I keep saying, there's nothing wrong with building up to an OTK, but the other thing is, with Trident Dragion, you have to destroy your own cards in order to gain those extra 2 attacks. And to be frank, I'd rather keep my cards, if you see what I mean. I'd rather not like set 1 or 2 cards just to get an OTK, to be honest. So I have used it. It is a good card, but I don't feel the need to use it at the moment, which is why I'm only using said synchros that I'm using in the deck at the moment, because I know I can get into them. I know the deck can benefit from these cards the most. However, in the future, if there comes like situations or duels where I do need to use Trident Dragion or Iron Chain Dragon, depending on what comes up, then obviously I will put them back in the extra deck, but for now I don't feel the need to. Right, the X-Seeds now, we have of course, again, about 4 or 5, so about roughly the same ratio with the synchros. And again, they're all just there because I feel I can get into them quite easily, and they're of maximum efficiency for my deck. Now I'm going to start with the newest one, Yugioh the Sea Dragon. Now I know it's not a dragon, it can't be used with Totem Dragon if it happens to be in the graveyard, but it's a situational card which is going to be used mainly for Totem Dragon. Again, for all my rank 3 X-Seeds anyway, the main way again I go into is Delta Flyer plus the Totem Dragon. But the thing with X-Seeds is, if Totem Dragon is resurrected via its own effect, because it's reset underneath an X-Seed monster, unlike the synchros where they're sent to the graveyard, it means that Totem Dragon's banish effect doesn't go off. So if you detach it as an XYZ material, it just goes straight to the graveyard, it doesn't get banished, which is why I generally prefer X-Seeds now over synchros, just because, with the Totem Dragon at least, because they allow Totem Dragon to be reused several times no matter what. But anyway, getting back on track, Yugioh the Sea Dragon is brilliant for bringing back the Totem Dragons that do happen to get banished, or if I need a level 4 monster that has been banished already to come back, then I can do that with Yugioh Sea Dragon. But of course, since my deck isn't based on remove from play, yes, it is a bit of a situational card, and it was pretty much only intended for the Totem Dragon, since that's the only card that will really banish itself quite a bit if I have to use it that way. But it's still a pretty good X-Seed, it's 18 attack as well, so that's why I've got it in there. Then the 2 number 17 Leviathan Dragons, again along with Yugioh, are brilliant for resetting the Totem Dragons if I use the Delta Flyer combo. But it's just it becomes a 3000 attack beat stick when you detach the XYZ materials, and for a rank 3 that's actually not too bad. And it's also a good dragon, and it's probably the X-Seed that I will probably go into the most in order to reuse Totem Dragons, or just to get a over 2k beat stick on the field. Then Queen Dragoon Jin is mainly, yes, she can stop dragon type monsters from being destroyed in battle, but she's mainly there again for resurrection purposes, because detaching XYZ material I can resurrect a Blue Eyes White Dragon. Not Light and Darkness Dragon, because that can't be special summoned. But I would use more than one copy of Queen Dragoon if I could, but since I've only got 3 Blue Eyes in the deck, I feel 1 is more than adequate, especially since I have 2 Call of the Haunted and Monster Reborn in there. And of course the 3 Light and Darkness Dragon, which in themselves are resurrection cards. So, and the other situational card of the X-Seeds at least is Sun Dragon Overlord of Heliopolis. It needs 2 level 8 monsters, so 2 Blue Eyes, 2 Light and Darkness, or 1 of each. straight into that. Now, even though I don't go into this card a lot, I can still get into it when the situation calls for it. 1 second, guys. Sorry about that, guys. My mum came in to talk to me about something. Anyway, Hieratic Sun Dragon Overlord needs 2 level 8 monsters to go into, and I prefer it over the other X-Seed monster that people keep suggesting to me, which is Thunder End Dragon. Now, Thunder End Dragon is basically a dark hole built into itself, but it doesn't get rid of back row, whereas with Hieratic Sun Dragon, it is selective destruction. In other words, I can target any card I need on the field, which is why I generally prefer it. And also, it's an Egyptian god dragon in a way, so I think it's a bit more cooler than Thunder End Dragon. But if the situation ever calls where I do need to go into Thunder End Dragon, or I need it for or make any more changes to the deck in future, I've got it in my extra tin just in case. 2 other X-Seeds that people keep suggesting to me as well are Kachi Kochi Dragon, which is a rank 421 attack dragon, which can attack twice in the battle phase when you detach an XYZ material, and Utopia. Now, granted, these 2 cards are pretty good and everything, but I don't use them. One, cause Kachi Kochi Dragon, I don't know, I just don't like it, to be honest with you guys. I mean, it is a dragon, it's pretty cool and everything, but I just don't like it. And Utopia is a non-dragon, so, and also the Blue Eyes archetype is just generally, you know, attack, attack, attack. Utopia is more of a defensive kind of card, and it can actually go pretty easily, especially if the opponent happens to swarm. So if it's in the graveyard with Totem Dragon, you know, that's it, strategy with Totem Dragon is completely out the window. So yeah, so for the Synchros and X-Seeds at least, you know, that's the reasons why I've chosen those cards in particular, because I know I can go into them, I know I can use them, and I can use them in most situations. The one card that will probably stay constant throughout the whole deck life is the Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, because it's the tribute fodder for the Blue Eyes Shining Dragon, and I have run multiple copies of it, and some people have suggested, why don't you run multiple copies of it with the current deck? That would mean I would have, if I did, that would mean I'd have to change the entire deck style again just to suit the fusion, which would mean I would probably have to take out all this lot in order to do so, and I don't want to do that. So yes, it's risque that Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon is only at 1, especially if it gets hit by, say, a Bottomless or a Solemn Warning or Judgment or D-Prison or something, but I just prefer it overall because the deck's more easier to run with the way it's built at the moment, rather than, you know, having multiple copies of Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. I mean, if others want to build their deck around just Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon and that way, then you know, go ahead, that's your choice, but I'm just happy running 1. What else is there to say? Oh yes, because I have 5 extra slots in the extra deck since I only run 10, it means that if in the future, if any other dragon type cards or any good extra deck cards come out that I feel could be very beneficial for my deck, then obviously I've got space to use them. Whereas with a lot of meta decks and everything, I'm constantly getting some people, like my friends and that, saying, you know, I'm going to the tournament this way, but I don't know what to add for the extra deck, you know, should I add this or that, or should I swap this or that, you know, whereas if you've got space, then you know you've got options to add stuff in. But the one card I'm definitely going to be adding when it does come out is number 107 Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Dragon. I cannot wait for that card to come out. It needs 2 level 8 monsters, so it's like Hieratic Sun Dragon, so it will be a bit situational. But it's got a really good effect, which I can't remember right now, to be honest. I think it gets like extra attacks in the battle phase, or that's one of its effects anyway. But basically, it's just a Galaxy-sized version of a Shining Dragon, pretty much. So that's why I'm going to add it in. So I just can't wait for that card to come out. I hope I can get it soon, because that'd be pretty awesome. So anyway, guys, I believe that's everything I can say about my extra deck. Anyway, the reason why I've chosen those monsters, the reason why I've got slots left and everything, it's just because, just to sum it all up, I'm comfortable with using these monsters. They're the monsters I know I can get into relatively easy when the situation calls for it. And I've got spaces left in case of any future cards that happen to come out. So I'd rather use cards that I know I can get into rather than ones that are optional, just in case, you know, as a just in case, which could have been used for something else that I know I can get into, if that makes any sense. So my question for you guys is, what about yourselves? Do you like to max out your extra deck, or would you rather just use cards you're comfortable with and know you can get into, and rather not have like optional cards that could use up space for something else? Because I would love to hear from you guys about this, because it is an interesting topic to say the least, because as I said, there's thousands of deck styles and deck types out there. Everybody's got different ways of playing, and some people max it out, some people don't even use an extra deck at all, depending on the deck style and everything. I mean, as I said, everybody's different, but I would like to hear your opinions on this. Post down in the comments below, and I look forward to reading them. Anyway, that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next one. So till then, take care. Bye!